I think that we all can agree that prison is not a nice place to be, and that the majority of people in there are in there for violent crimes of one sort or another. Although you may not want to be in a prison with any kind of inmate, you certainly wouldn't want to be with one of these most dangerous prison inmates ever.
Brilliant news!
Number 1. Eyeball Man. Jason Barnum aka the Eyeball Man isn't just scary to look at, he's also a recurring criminal. After 14 previous convictions apparently to feed his heroin addiction, he was arrested again in 2012 for shooting a police officer, burglary and possession of a weapon. He was sentenced to 22 years in prison. Number 2. Rodney Alcala. Known as the dating game killer because of his appearance in 1978 on the TV show, Rodney was a serial rapist and killer and was convicted in 1979. Police found his collection of over 1,000 photographs of people in explicit poses. In 2003, he was convicted of an additional 5 murders, and the victims were in his photo collection. Over 100 of these photos, the less explicit ones, were posted online by the police in an effort to identify them. Number 3. The Underwear Strangler. Johann Unterweger was sentenced to 15 years in prison after murdering a woman by strangling her with her bra. In 1990, he was released as part of a rehabilitation program. In the space of a year, he committed 6 murders using the MO and became a crime journalist writing about his own crimes. Gaining fame, he was offered a job as a crime writer in the United States, where he committed more murders, again using their bras to strangle them. This made the police suspicious, and he was eventually arrested in Miami by the FBI. Number 4. BTK. Dennis Rader is a serial killer who gave himself the nickname BTK, which is an abbreviation of his MO. Between 1974 and 1991, he killed 10 people and sent the police clues describing his crimes. He was then silent for over 10 years until in 2004 he started sending letters again. This led to his arrest in 2005 and his conviction. He is currently serving 10 consecutive life sentences. Number 5. Pogo. John Wayne Gacy is probably the original cause of coulrophobia. He would dress up as Pogo the Clown and perform at children's hospitals or charity events. He would lure his victims to his home and then murder them. He was arrested in 1978 after having committed 33 murders. Number 6. The Russian Ripper. Andrei Chikatilo, also known as the Butcher of Rostov or the Red Ripper, was a Russian serial killer who between 1978 and 1990 murdered over 56 people. He was caught and tried in 1992 and was found guilty and sentenced to death and was executed in 1994. Number 7. Lobster Boy. Grady Stiles' family had a congenital deformity which basically made their hands look like lobster claws. Grady's condition affected his feet also, so he couldn't walk properly. He was part of the Freak Show in a traveling carnival, and there he met his future wife. They got married and had 2 children. Grady's daughter didn't have deformities and soon became the apple of his eye. When his daughter met a man and decided to get married, her father grew jealous, and in a drunken rage he shot and killed her fiancé with his shotgun. Number 8. Eileen Ruiz. Eileen was a prostitute and a serial killer who in just 1 year murdered 7 men by shooting them at point-blank range. After being caught, she claimed that all 7 murders had been in self-defense and that the victims had been trying to rape her. In court, she expressed no remorse and was subsequently sentenced to death.
Peace with my Lord, and I have.
Number 9. Typhoid Mary. Mary Marlon infected 53 people with typhoid fever between the years 1900 and 1907. She cooked in the homes of 7 different families. Each time the family would become ill or die, and she would move on to a new family. This continued until a researcher called George Soper found out she was an asymptomatic typhoid carrier. Mary was detained and forced into quarantine. After a huge media uproar, her lawyer got her out on the grounds that she hadn't actually done anything legally wrong. Mary continued to work as a cook under false names, and even worked in a hospital, but the trail of deaths followed her until she was caught again in 1915, and forced into quarantine again. This time there was no media coverage or appeals, and she spent the rest of her days in isolation. Which did you think was the most dangerous inmate? Comment below.